Hey everyone, Scott here, and in this video I'm going to be doing kind of a news roundup, just about any of the info that has come out about the game over the past week or two, just the stuff I haven't covered in other videos already on the channel. So first up we have info about the new archive booster. This is something that Bandai announced like a week or two ago on their Facebook page. And they said that this is going to be a set that is going to be completely filled with reprints. So unlike the recent Evolution booster that was kind of half reprints and half new stuff, this is going to be a set that is full of reprints. And the important thing to note is that a page was put up on, you can see here, GTS Distribution, their website. And there's actually a description for the set, which gives us some info beyond what Bandai originally announced. And in terms of whether this information is reliable, I know that GTS Distribution have had pages up in the past for products that have had details that turned out to be true. The two that come to mind for me was Draftbox 6, Giant Force. They said that the set was going to be related to characters that kind of have giant forms, like Hirudegarn and things like that. And that ended up being true. They had that info up on a page like this well before Bandai revealed the cards from the set or even the theme of the set. The other example that comes to mind is they had a page for the second anniversary box, the one from last year, and in it they mentioned that it was going to have support for older decks, and I think they specifically mentioned Bojack by name. We did end up getting some new cards for Bojack in last year's anniversary box, so I think we can take this information as being true. So the first line here basically just says it's going to have reprinted cards from all types of different sets, promos, draft box, theme boosters, and in terms of like main sets, it's only going to be set 9 or previous. It's pre-Unison Warrior series boosters, you can see here. And so the second point is that they're going to be reprint versions, like with the original art and everything, and they're going to have the RE text on it, and the new holo versions are going to have new alternate art and a gold stamp, and even the commons are going to have the gold stamp. It's not just on like higher rarity foils. Now I've seen some people conflating the fact that it's going to have the RE text and the gold stamp thing. They seem to think that the non-foil versions of the cards are going to have like a big RE stamp, like where you would have like a pre-release stamp. I don't think that's actually going to be the case. For this RE text, the fact they say that it's text rather than a stamp, I think is the immediate thing you need to know, is why I don't think it's going to be like a pre-release stamp. But I think if you take a card and you look at it down in the bottom left with the copyright information, there's some very small text. And the very bottom line of that says Bandai made in Japan. Then there's a little bit of a space, and then depending on what language the card is, so if it's an English card, there'll be a little capital E and a capital N together. I'm assuming the French has FR and the Italian has IT. I think the fact here that they're saying specifically just two letters both capitalized, I think it's probably just going to be next to that or above that on the card. I don't think it's going to be really big and prominent. In terms of new alternate art and a gold stamp, I think it's interesting the fact that they're saying alternate art and a gold stamp. Why would they do both? Surely if it's new art, you would just have them be alternate art. I'm wondering if the foils are just going to be the new full art that we've got from sets in the Unison Warrior series and a gold stamp, and that's why they're giving it the gold stamp as well. I could be wrong on that, but that is just my guess as to what it's going to be. I guess we'll have to wait and see for Bandai to reveal the actual cards from this set. We'll see what they mean by alternate art and a gold stamp. So the third point here is that packs are only going to have 8 cards as opposed to the standard 12 that we have now. They're going to be $1 more expensive, and each pack is going to have 2 holo cards. So current sets, when you can get 2 holo cards per pack, you would just get a holo in the second to last slot and then an SR or an SPR or even a secret rare in the last slot. But in this case, that's going to be every pack. I think the fact that we're only getting 8 cards per pack is a good thing, assuming that buy 8 cards rather than 12, it just means there's 4 less commons in the pack. Because commons are just like pack filler at this point, especially for reprints. If it's cards from like older sets, theme boosters, or like the early sets, they're like pennies on places like TCG Player or Card Market. So we don't really need 4 extra commons per pack, kind of just taking up space. So I think this will be a good change. And final point here is that there's going to be 2 secret rares, and they're both going to be reprints, which makes sense. The whole set's going to be reprints. They say here it's the first secret rare reprints in Dragon Ball Super card game history. Technically that is true, but there have been 2 secret rares reprinted in the past in the revision packs. There was the Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta and the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. They were both reprinted in the revision pack. I've seen a lot of people speculating, saying, oh, it's going to be Cell Zeno and Awaken Power, Ultra Instinct from Tournament of Power. I don't think that's going to be the case. If I had to guess, I would say we'll get probably one of those 2, either Cell Zeno or the Ultra Instinct Victory Strike card. And I think the other one will probably be the Vegito secret rare from set 2, which was like the original very first secret rare. I think that'll be Bandai's kind of reasoning of why they picked that card. I don't think, especially with the fact that this is AB01, which implies that maybe there's going to be more archive boosters past this first one. So I don't think they're going to go straight into giving us like the 2 best, most expensive secret rares from previous sets. Maybe if this was going to be a one-time thing, I might believe that. So then we just have the rarities here. In terms of the commons and uncommons, it's the same as normal sets, 30 commons, 15 uncommons. I think the rares is the same as something like the Evolution Booster, but I think it's a lot less than the regular sets we get, like Supreme Rivalry that was just released had like way more rares than that. And the same goes for super rares. There's normally more super rares than that in a regular set, or even the Evolution Booster. I think the Evolution Booster still had like 16, 18 super rares, something like that. Another thing to note is there's no special rares, no SPRs, which I guess makes sense if the holo versions are actually going to be proper alternate arts. Then having SPRs would just be another different alternate art version, so there would kind of be no point to having SPRs in this set. And the final point to make is that there's the same number of packs in a box and the same number of boxes in a case as with any other set. So really, when it comes down to it, whether this set is going to be worth it or not is just going to come down to what these reprints actually are. If they're good reprints, then the set is definitely going to be worth it. If all the reprints are terrible except the secret rares, then it's probably not going to be a good set. And the one final point I want to make about the archive booster before I move on to another subject is, what is the pull rate going to be for the secret rares? That's something we don't know at this point. Hopefully it's not going to be like with a regular set where it's 2 per case. That would be kind of bullshit in my eyes. I think it needs to at least be on par with something like the Evolution Booster, where there was 4 per case. Even that I think is on the low end for something that's a reprint product that's kind of supposed to get cards into people's hands that maybe missed out on them the first time. To have the secret rares be super hard to get still, I think would be a big mistake, especially if they're going to be alternate art secret rares. You're just incentivizing collectors and speculators to just buy up all the boxes, and that's just not going to help anyone who actually wants to play the game. Like, it doesn't have to be crazy, it doesn't have to be like a secret rare in every box, but I think to only have 2 per case, like I say, would be a big mistake on Bandai's part. So yeah, that was it in terms of what I wanted to mention about the archive booster before I move on to another topic. I guess the one last thing to say is that according to GTS distributions at least, the release date is going to be towards the end of November, which kind of makes sense for when the set was announced, for it to be released in about 6 months' time. So the next point I wanted to talk about is the cards from the upcoming event pack. So for this, we've hopped over to the official Dragon Ball Super Card Game Facebook page. And yesterday they announced that they're going to be revealing the cards from Championship Pack Volume 2, Event Pack 8, and some winners alt art cards. So the event packs and the winner alt art cards are going to be for upcoming regional events. And like it says here, the reprints were handpicked based on comments on their Facebook page. Then they also say the community group, which I'm assuming is just the Facebook discussion group for the game, and our product questionnaires. So by product questionnaires, I'm assuming they mean the ones that they usually do when a new set is released, as opposed to the recent popularity poll that I made a video about. I think that one was not taken into account for this. And yeah, they say they can't show us the event pack art because it features design element related to the next set in the Unison Warrior series, which is interesting because up to now the event packs have generally just been, even the Unison Warrior ones, they're just, I'll put an example on the screen now, but it's just the main art of the card and just with like a little stamp in the bottom left, maybe the bottom right, that says like Unison Warrior series. So it's interesting that there's maybe going to be something different in terms of cards from the event packs going forward. They're going to be related to the sets in some way. But let's just jump in and we'll start looking at what the cards from Event Pack 8 are. And I'll just give you my thoughts, I guess, on whether they're good inclusions or not. So first up, we have a big one, which is Dormant Potential Unleashed. I know a lot of people are going to be happy, myself included actually, to hopefully get their hands on some more copies of this card. It's basically the most expensive non-secret rare in the game, or at least it was prior to this announcement. I think the price has dropped a little bit since then. I think it may have gone slightly below Violent Rays. But yeah, good inclusion for this in the event pack. Next up we have Heroic Prospect. So this actually won't even be the first time this card has been reprinted. It was also reprinted as part of the Player's Choice pack that was recently released. It was like that, Zarbon, and Strength of Legends, Power of Legends, something like that. I can't remember what the Goku card specifically is called. But yeah, the price on this card, I guess, is still held at being pretty high even with that reprint, so another chance to get this card will be pretty good. I mean, technically, now that I think about it, this card also had a winner's version, so this will be like the 4th version of the card in terms of its artwork. So it's up there with something like, I guess, even the Zarbon or the Scientist Fu in terms of like how many different alternate art reprints it's got, which is weird because it's still a relatively new card. I mean, it was what, only just under a year ago that the card was first released? So to see it get that many reprints in such a short amount of time is strange, but it's a really good card in terms of its effect. It's been run in a lot of blue decks at the moment. And then we have God Sealing Technique. This is another interesting one because this is a card that had an SPR version. And generally with event packs, I didn't think they used cards that have SPR versions. Just they kind of steer clear of them in the past. I could be wrong on that. And if I am, let me know in the comments section down below if they have done cards with SPR versions in event packs before. But there aren't any examples that come to mind when I think about previous event packs. But yeah, this is another good one for them to choose. It's another card along with the Trunks we just looked at that is basically an auto-include in most blue decks. It'll be good for people to get more copies of this card in their hand. It's interesting that we're getting, so this is the second we've seen from Rise of the Unison Warrior, especially with their recent announcement that there's going to be a second printing of Rise of the Unison Warrior out later this year. It's interesting that they're still going ahead and doing alternate art reprints of these cards in something like the event pack. They're not just relying on the fact that they're reprinting the whole set to get this into people's hands. They're going the extra step beyond that, which I think is a good move overall by Bandai. So next up we have another recent tournament pack card. I think this is from volume 3 or 2 or 3, I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's Super Saiyan 4 Bardock fighting against Fate. This is another good card for any kind of deck that wants to run an Overrealm as just like a 25k dual attack. I'm not 100% sure if this is one of the ones that people are running in the new Supreme Kai Time deck. If that is the case, then this would be a good choice for a reprint just in terms of that reason alone. Next up we have Launch Feminine Wiles. Now I remember this one is in Tournament Pack Volume 3, and it's another one that is kind of desirable. I'm pretty sure this one has a winner's version as well, the same as we looked at the one for Heroic Prospect had a winner's version. I think this one does as well. But yeah, this is another one that for launch decks is kind of an auto-include. So to get that reprinted is another good choice by Bandai. Then we have another big one from the tournament packs. Seems like this event pack 8 is going to be mainly tournament packs with a few cards from set 10 thrown in as well. We have Mass Saiyan, Brainwash No More. This is another one that I want to get my hands on. I've just got unlucky with just keep pulling the Son Goku Unison every time I get a tournament pack 2. Really good card for pretty much any black deck, just for its active battle effect. Just as a way to stop you taking double strike or triple strike attacks, or even quad strike with something like Cell Zeno. And next up we have another counterplay from set 10. We have the yellow one, the Vegeta Prideful Transformation. I know this is one that I've been running in Mecha Freezer, so it will be good to get my hands maybe on another copy of this card. I think I only have like 3. So from my point of view at least, I'm glad this is getting a reprint. Then we have Not Even a Scratch, so this is interesting because it's another Dropbox 2 card, and it's a negate that after it's been used kind of becomes half of a Saiyan Instinct, the kind of draw ape as people refer to it as, where you just can pay 1 of any colour to draw a card. Overall, I think this is pretty good reprint as well. Dropbox 2 was kind of, or Dropbox 5 technically, DB2 was kind of notorious for being underprinted, so for us to get another card from that set reprinted in an event pack is pretty good. Overall, I think this might be one of the weaker cards we've seen so far, which I think is actually saying something about how good this event pack is, because this isn't even a bad card. And then we have Son Goku in Hit, which is a rare from set 10. Pretty good, gets included in a lot of blue and yellow decks. It can even be run in mono blue decks, since it only has 1 specified blue for its blue-yellow arrival. You run the Zamasu Super Combo, and even in a, like I say, a mono blue deck, you can get this guy out. So this is still another good card for them to reprint. I guess the one thing to point out about this is it's only a rare, unlike some of the other ones from set 10 we've seen that were super rares. This is probably one of the less desirable cards we've seen so far, which again is saying a lot about how good this event pack is going to be. And then the final card you can get from event pack 8 is going to be Freezer Army Healing Pod. Still a good card that sees play in many green decks. I think for a lot of people this is going to be the least good of all the reprints. It's going to be the one they're not going to be excited to open. In terms of value, I think it's one of the lower ones on the list as well. I think it might be down there with Goku and Hit, although it is still, at least on Card Market, last time I looked, it was still a few euro per copy, so it's not even that bad of a pull. And for this to be, like I say, the least desirable card in the pack, kind of speaks volumes to how good this event pack is. This is probably, without a doubt, the best event pack that there's ever been. At least as far as the event packs that come out since I started playing the game. I don't know about the early ones, whether they were considered like really good for the time or not. But yeah, this is a fantastic event pack overall. So the last thing I wanted to cover in this video was these cards that were announced today. They're alternate art card sets for the upcoming regionals. So let's just jump into it. The first one is Dormant Potential Unleashed. So interesting that this is getting a reprint here and in the upcoming event pack. Obviously this version is an alternate art. So this is going to be cards that are given out to, I believe, anyone who finishes in the top 4 gets a version of this card without this winner's stamp here. And the winner of the regional gets another copy that has the winner's stamp on it. So with it being something that's only given to people who finish in the top 4, that means there's not going to be a lot of these kind of alternate art versions out there. So I think to look at whether these are good or not is not really to look at them from the standpoint of, well, does it get this card into people's hands because of how rare they're going to be? So I think we need to look at it more from the example of, like, if you finish top 4 in a tournament, would you be happy to get these cards as a prize? And I think an alternate art version of Dormant Potential, I think it does fit that criteria of being something that it's a card you'll be happy to get an alternate art version of. I mean, beyond something like them giving you an alternate art secret rare, I think this is basically one of the best cards you could get. And then next up in the set is Cooler. Again, this is a card that still sees play today, even in mono red decks, like I mentioned in the previous thing about Goku and Hit. Being able to be run in mono blue decks, this is something that can be run in mono red alongside the Beerus super combo. So again, I think this is another one that people would be more than happy to get for finishing top 4 in a tournament. And the final one is Android 16 Energy Amplification. This is one of the blue-green Android 16s that lets you ramp. Again, I think this is another good SR. That's one thing to point out, is that these winner cards usually are always SRs. I think this, again, like I said with the previous two, is another one that people will be more than happy to get their hands on, even if they're not necessarily going to use it for their own kind of blue-green ramp deck. It's one that they could very easily sell on to someone who is running that kind of deck. Maybe the new Android 16 deck from Evolution Booster. And like I said, they could sell it on to someone who is using it and make a decent amount of money off it. So, and yeah, I don't think anyone can really complain about the kind of caliber of card that you get for winning an upcoming regional. I think they're all good cards for you to get. And so I guess the last thing to mention is that the Championship 2021 Volume 2 cards are going to be revealed next week. I probably will make a short video just to go over them. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be notified when that video comes out, go ahead and subscribe now. But I guess that brings us to the end of this news roundup video. So if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like. That'll really help me out. If you've got any comments, you have any thoughts about whether these are good reprints or not, just leave them down in the comment section below. And thanks for watching.